Well, MPVs and emotions aren't something that go along well together, but the Innova is such a brand name that in India has built a lot of emotions around it and has been around for a long time. Now, we have seen the Innova in different forms with different types of technologies over the years, but this time, this new Innova Hycross, well, it's a completely different vehicle when you compare it to the earlier models. While the earlier ones were based on a ladder frame chassis and had rear wheel drive, they had petrol and diesel engines. This one is based on a monocoque chassis, has front wheel drive, and it does not have a diesel engine at all. It comes with a petrol only or a petrol hybrid setup. And this one is the hybrid that we are driving right now. So how different is the Innova Hycross compared to its predecessors? And is it really an Innova still or not? Well, let's find out over the next few minutes. Now, talking of the design, well, the biggest change you see is up front, where you see this wide grille, a good amount of chrome, and of course a lot of sharp creases and angles. All of this has been done to give the Hycross more of an SUV and a dynamic appeal, a little bit different from the MPV look that the Innova has carried earlier. And yes, that has been done successfully. The Innova Hycross now looks a lot more dynamic when you look at it up front. It does give you a bit more of an energetic feel, which is unlike an MPV. So yes, a good progression in terms of design. On the side though, when you look at it, it still does have the typical MPV characteristics and you can't do much about it. It is an MPV at the end of the day, but yes, it definitely looks better than the Crysta. It's got stronger character lines on the side, and one thing that could have been done probably better is the size of the alloy wheels. The 18-inch alloy wheels look a bit undersized, which accentuate the MPV feel on the side. Had it been a little larger, maybe 19-inch, at least on the top versions, that would have given it a bit more dynamic feel. But again, it's just something that works on the scale in terms of, in a slight way. It's not much of a big difference. At the rear, again, you get what you see at the front, this similar sharp treatment, and again, it looks good. It merges well with the front end design. So overall, yes, the Hycross does come across as a much more premium, a modern, and a dynamic product compared to the Crysta. Now, talking about the cabin, well, this is one area where, just like the design, a lot of change has taken place. And well, first of all, you see the layout is completely different to that of the Crysta, and you have this far better looking infotainment screen here. Now, this is one area that really needed an improvement, and fortunately the Hycross gets it. It's a nice touch screen. It's got good touch response and it works pretty well. It's got wireless Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, so that's a good thing. And in terms of cabin layout, the materials used, the build quality, again, the Hycross comes across as a premium vehicle. The top part of the dashboard has been done really nice in soft touch leather material, so that again adds to the premium appeal of the cabin. And there is a lot of usable space all around, so that adds to the convenience and practicality. The lower parts of the dashboard, well, the plastic quality, well, could have been a bit better, but it isn't bad. I would just say it's average in quality, but that's a part where you wouldn't be looking at a lot of times. So yes, even in terms of the instrument cluster, it's a digital instrument cluster with analog needles for telling you the battery status, how much power you're using, and of course the fuel and the temperature gauge. The digital display is clear. It gives you a lot of information, easy to read. You can again toggle through the menus, get a lot of information, especially this is a hybrid, so you can also see a lot of hybrid specific displays. So yes, convenient and very user friendly. One other area where the Hycross has taken a big leap is the inclusion of features. The idea is to make it much more premium, and it has been done successfully. You get this nice panoramic sunroof. It's a big panoramic sunroof, so of course Indians are going to love this feature. You also now get ventilated seats, which should really come in handy in the warm climates. It also gets a 360-degree camera. What I do wish though is I wish the resolution of the camera was a little bit better, but still it is good enough to make it usable, so it serves the purpose. Now this middle seat and the third row, well, these are some really big talking points about the new Innova Hycross, and there are a lot of changes that have been made in this department. Now let's take a look at the available space first. Now with the driving seat adjusted to my driving preference, I'm 5 feet 8 inches for reference. You can see I've got this seat in a sort of a middle position set right now, and I've got good amount of leg space. I've got good amount of knee room. Again, of course, headroom is not a problem at all in the Innova Hycross. I mean, it has never been a problem in the Innova. And the best thing about this seat is that it has really taken a big leap in terms of comfort. Now, one of the key things is that I can just pull a lever, and then I can either push this as forward as this in case you want to liberate some space for the passenger at the back, and I can take it all the way back here, right? With the touch of a button electrically, I can also adjust the recline that I have. So this means that you can get a very good comfortable position, especially on those long drives. But that's not it. The party piece is still waiting, and that is the inclusion of the ottoman support. See, now I can bring it to what angle I want, and if I want with this button I can recline it further, and well, there you have it. It's a pretty much very close to a business class seat experience that you get with the Innova Hycross, something the Innova hasn't been able to boast of till now. Now the only thing you need to keep in mind with that kind of an ottoman support and the lying back arrangement is that if you're a tall guy, well, you probably will not be able to extend your feet completely, but you also need to keep in mind that this seat is not aimed to be a seat like you get in the S class or something. It's supposed to just give you additional comfort, and that it does brilliantly well. The seat themselves, well, both of these seats have good cushioning, good amount of side support, so that way also it adds to the overall good premium and comfortable experience. Also, you've got these roof mounted air vents here, and you've got the climate controls here. There are also these Type-C 2 sockets here. There's also these cup holders here. So yes, a lot of space inside the cabin. Very practical cabin, comfortable, premium and luxurious at the same time. Now that premium and luxury quotient that is being added to the Hycross, well, that is something that the Crysta was missing a bit upon, and that has been added in the Hycross in a very good way. And now let's check the most important thing, the third row. Well, the Innova Crysta has been pretty good in terms of space in the third row. Let's check how the Hycross is. Is it any better? Now to get in, you need to slide this seat forward. It's an electrically operated seat, so yes, it does not get a single touch tumble, but yes, you're doing this. Well, it's easy ingress egress, lots of space, so you don't really have to bend and put your body in some awkward position to get inside. Nothing of that sort. And yeah, I mean, let's put it back to sort of a position where I had, and let's recline this. That should give you an idea of the space that I have. And yeah, I mean, I've got these adjustable headrests, pretty good. In terms of space, well, if someone's sitting probably at a I would say middle position. Now here you can see, well, I've got barely any space left, so my knees are brushing against the seat. And being a third row, well, you would expect it to be set high, so of course the seat is low, the floor is high, so the knees are pointing upwards, so there's less under thigh support, but it isn't bad as many other MPVs. So yes, it's better. Yeah, in terms of space, I would say it's okay. And in terms of headroom, like you can see, I do have a decent amount of space. In terms of shoulder room too, this seat is pretty good. It's a wide vehicle, wide seat, good shoulder room, and that means you can have people sitting abreast with relative comfort. The other good thing is that you can also adjust the recline here. So yeah, well, that's how you get a much more relaxed position. And quite frankly, with the body frame I have, 5 feet 8 inches the height, I wouldn't mind sitting here even if required for maybe more than an hour. So if you are looking at a vehicle where you can actually take 7 people with you or 6 people and go on for a long drive, I think the Innova Hycross is a very good vehicle at doing that. The third row is genuinely usable for adults. You can use it, and yeah, it's a pretty decent place to be in. I would say one of the best third row seats in the business in this particular price segment, or maybe even up to 50 lakh. Since I did mention the point about carrying multiple people in one go, going out on long drives, well, the boot definitely matters and you need space. Now, one good thing is it gets an electric tailgate, so it just makes life more easier. And you can see the amount of space you get even with the third row up. Well, even if I were to sort of give these passengers a bit more comfort, give them some more incline, you can see I do have a normal size overnight bag, and you can easily have maybe 2 of these and a small bag and place similar. You can easily carry about 4 or such bags and still have a couple of small bags. So yes, good amount of boot space also. Once you fold these down, well, of course you will get a massive amount of space. So yes, comfortable, practical, spacious, definitely the vehicle that is really good at carrying people in comfort. All right, now let's talk about the most important part, the powertrain, the hybrid motor. But before we do that, if you're liking this video, please do subscribe to our channel and press that little bell icon so that you can stay updated with all forthcoming TOI Auto videos, and also please do share it. Now, coming to the powertrain, well, this one comes with either a hybrid setup or a non-hybrid setup. Well, that is something that we haven't driven, the non-hybrid one, which is a petrol only. But right now we are driving the hybrid one because this is the one that Toyota is focusing on. It's got a 2-liter petrol engine, and it has been paired with a battery and electric motor. Combined, they develop about 186 horsepower, and as a result of that, this vehicle, Toyota claims it can accelerate from a standstill to 100 in 9.5 seconds. And well, I've not done a complete run on it, but going by the acceleration, I wouldn't be surprised if it really does it in that time. Now, that is as quick as a Volkswagen Polo GT, a hot hatch. And the best part is, because this is a hybrid, the fuel efficiency you get is amazing. We've been driving this and we've been getting on an average at times more than 16 kilometers to a liter, and on an average it has been giving, even through traffic highways, above 14. So that's phenomenal for a vehicle of this size and this power. The kind of efficiency it has is amazing. How does it do that? Well, it's got a petrol engine, it's got an electric motor and a battery. Now, when you're driving in your regular cycle, low load condition, even when you're starting off or you're driving in traffic or up to about 45-50 kilometers an hour, well, that's where you're being powered by the battery and the electric motor alone, provided the battery has enough charge. The battery gets charged on its own through the engine and when you're braking or when you're coasting, so it gets regen braking, and it's also again charged by the engine. So when these two things, the engine and the motor, the battery, work in a cohesive manner, so when these two things work in a unison, you get better fuel efficiency, lower emissions, a win-win on both sides. How's it to drive in the regular traffic? Well, that is where again a big change has taken place when you compare to the Crysta. Now, with the monocoque chassis instead of the ladder frame on the earlier one, with a front wheel drive arrangement, it just feels a lot more car-like. That's the biggest difference. It feels lighter, it feels tighter around you, it feels much more nimble, maneuverable, something the Innova has never felt like. And that is, for me, the biggest change in the Hycross. Normal traffic, when you're driving, like I said, mostly the job will be done by the electric motor. You wouldn't be using the petrol engine, so of course that leads to fuel savings. But even in terms of driving experience, that really doesn't make any kind of a negative difference. In fact, when operating on battery alone, it's a far more silent vehicle. With the engine on also, it is again a refined and a silent vehicle, so no unwanted noises filtering through. But yes, all in all, I think it works well. Like I said, it is quick. It's fairly quick. It's just that, you know, it's been the motor, the engine channeling power through a CVT. It just doesn't feel engaging. It just doesn't feel something that will put a smile on your face. I mean, a hatchback doing 0 to 100 in under 10 seconds will put a smile on your face. This does it in the same time, but it sort of doesn't feel that quick. So it's not that engaging, but that's fine. It's an MPV. It's supposed to carry people in luxury, in comfort. So considering that, I think it does a phenomenal job of going fairly quick. The ride quality on the broken surfaces is very good, and I mean, it just goes through all of these speed breakers, potholes in a very good manner. Not much of it is transferred to the cabin. Just that the brakes sort of feel quite vague, do not give you any feedback, but that's the case with almost all hybrid and electric vehicles that have got regenerative braking. The steering, well, it's become very light, and that's should be a good news to a lot of people, because like I said, it feels a lot more car-like. So if more people in your family want to drive this, it's just so much more easier to drive. And like I said earlier, combine it with the 360-degree camera, the ease with which it drives, the great all-round visibility, and this feather-light steering wheel for this kind of a vehicle. Well, the Innova Hycross is so much easier to drive than the Crysta. So overall, I think it's a great progression. Of course, we will wait for a detailed drive wherein we will be able to drive it longer and give you a much more detailed perspective. But for now, I can tell you that it's a big and a worthy upgrade over the Crysta. And moving to the end of this video, well, in terms of pricing, well, the prices have not been announced, but they will be announced soon. Of course, it comes with a lot of new features, and expect the prices to be definitely higher than where it was with the Crysta. The vehicle will be available with a petrol-only motor, and in that configuration, you'll not have the hybrid setup, so it'll be cheaper. And the other thing is, you'll also not have a lot of these features in that car, so you'll not have this panoramic sunroof and all. So yes, this top-end model, which will come with all the bells and whistles, expected to cost quite a bit, but it remains to be seen. And quite frankly, with Toyota's pricing history, I really cannot tell you whether they're going to be very competitive or they're going to be just about okay or aggressive. Well, let's see. The point is, it's a great vehicle. It's a big improvement over the Crysta. Everything spot on. It is improved in almost every area. Yes, there is a question mark whether fleet operators and taxi drivers will like it or not, but for them, the Crysta diesel continues, and they can still go in for that. For private buyers, for individual buyers, I think this is a great vehicle, and provided Toyota can price it right, it should offer brilliant value for money. The Innova Crysta was already one of the best family vehicles you could buy in the country. This pushes the envelope further. It's just the price that remains to be revealed.